Well, this is going to be a description of a way I make a bamboo spine for a North American fighter kite. Now, I use a blank, what I call a blank. It's a piece of bamboo that was split and is pretty much uniform in its cross section. It's about a quarter of an inch by about 3/16 of an inch. And this flat side here is the bark or the skin of the bamboo, and that's where the bamboo strength comes from. So you don't want to eliminate that part. When you shape the spine, you want to maximize the amount of skin surface that remains. Now, the way I make, now you can use these just as they are for a spine, and they work well. They work well. The blanks here are, I bought these from a kite maker in India who splits them for his own kite making. They're 24 inches long, and they have no nodes or no knots or anything like that. They're smooth and uniform, very, very nice bamboo. But when I make a fighter kite, I like the spine to have a specific shape and a specific way that it bends when it's in the kite. And I also like to have it balanced in a specific way. Now, these are just my preferences, but I'll show them to you and then you can take it and do however you want to modify it for your own preferences. This is one of the sticks here. I painted acrylic ink on the skin in order for it to be easier to see in the video. So I'm just going to go through what I do here when I'm making a spine. It's quite simple. The tools I use I use a wire cutter, and I use a break-off utility knife. This one's a little fancier than some that I use, but doesn't matter. They all work equally well. And this is all I use to shape and finish a bamboo spine for my fighter kites. And I use a Sharpie marker. The first thing I do is I put this spine blank, this piece, which is longer than I need, on my kite pattern and mark it, and I cut the length using a pair of wire cutters here. I just snip it off. I don't know if I can. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Now, I put this on the kite plan, and you can see here I have drawn a line from wingtip to wingtip on the kite plan, on the pattern template. I'm going to mark that here so that I know where the nose is compared to where the tail is on the spine. So I'm going to rotate this over so that the skin is down. The back side of the kite, of the spine rather, is pointed up. And I make a mark with a Sharpie marker like that. The mark starts at the low end of the spine and it moves up towards the nose. That's how I know where the nose is. The nose is up here, and the way this line I draw tells me that. So you can do it however you need. But the reason I want to know is because I prefer a kite spine that is more flexible in the area between the nose and the wingtip line. This area right here of the spine, to me, should be more flexible. This is where the bend in a fighter kite spine is typically placed, right along in here. So you need that to be a little bit more flexible, or I do. It will work fine without. You can do it either way. But one of the other things I prefer is if I balance this spine on my finger, I like it to balance so that it's down a little ways closer to the tail. And here it doesn't do that. Here it's balanced pretty much at the wingtip line, which would be fine, But it's not the way I prefer the kite's performance to be. And the balance of the kite, nose to tail balance, has an awful lot to do with how the kite responds in the air. So by making the spine a little heavier at the tail, gives me two things. It gives me a little bit better balance, or better in the sense that it's more like I want, and it provides a little more flexibility in the nose area of the kite. So what I do is I shave with my knife this upper portion of the spine to make it a smaller cross section. That way it becomes more flexible. The way I do it is really simple. Bamboo isn't like wood. I mean, bamboo is not wood. It's a grass or a cane. It depends on how you describe it, I guess, but typically it's like a grass. And it has very, very fine fibers that run its entire length here. So it's not like wood at all in the way that it responds to a knife. I'm going to hold my knife at an angle into the side. Here's the skin side. I'm turning it so the skin side is over here. And I am going to put my knife at this angle. The sharper the angle, the deeper the cut will be. So I start with a relatively shallow angle to get a feel for how it's going to be. And then I hold the knife against my work table here so it's steady. I don't move the knife. Then I simply pull the bamboo through the knife blade. And that's that. Then I turn it to the other side and do the same thing at about the same angle. Pull it through. And you can see that it's taking part of this skin away as well as the rest underneath the skin. So it is a little bit narrower now, right? I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. It's a little bit narrower where I shaved. I didn't shave a lot off, but I'm going to continue doing the same thing a little bit at a time. And it's very fast. Nothing to be fearful about working with bamboo. It's very, very easy to work with using this technique. So now I have a spine that is narrower above the wingtip line than it is below the wingtip line. And it also weighs more and is stiffer where I want it to be. So now it balances quite a bit below where the wingtip line is, which is right in here. Now, the reason I like that kind of a balance for a spine is because when the kite's built, the bow is placed right along this area here. The weight of the bow is above the wingtip line. So I'd like to have the spine partially compensate for that added weight in the nose area of the kite. That's just my preference. That doesn't mean it's the right way to do it. It's just the way I do it, and I like it that way. So I hope that this is useful. And if you're going to be making some bamboo spines for your fighter kites, that this might be helpful for you. Now, one thing that I do pay attention to in addition is the shape, the back part where I shave it. I want that shape to be relatively rounded so that the cross-sectional shape of the part I have shaved is flat on the skin side and then rounded from one edge of the skin around to the other. And I find that that provides the truest bend. So when it bends, it doesn't have a tendency to twist at the same time. It minimizes that. And if, for example, you look at this and it's not straight, this one's pretty straight, but making bamboo stick straight is very simple. Where you want it to change direction, you simply hold your hand on either side of that area and flex it in the area you need in order to straighten it out. And just very gently, and move your hand so the hand warmth helps the bamboo bend. And the bend will remain there once it's straightened out or bent if you want it bent. So, hope that helps. And looking forward to flying with you on the flying field.